Hello and welcome to 30 Frames a Second. Now sit back, relax, and I think you figured it out. It's Takeover Tuesday. I'm Lu Sierra, and the ladies of Nat Show has taken over today. Here we go, 30 frames a second. Let's hit it now.
Girls have the power to change the world. Girls have the power together. We can do things. We have the strength because we're girls. Our friendship is bigger than anything, anything, anything. Let's come together and build each other up. We are stronger together. When people try to stop us, we say that's enough. We got each other's backs forever.
Sing it, girl.
Girls have the power to change the world. Girls have the power together. We can do things. We have the strength because we're girls. Our friendship is bigger than anything, anything, anything. We believe in our friends and in ourselves. We are able to reach the sky. We have the dreams and confidence to match. Together we can hold our heads high. Girls have the power to change the world. Girls have the power together. We can do things. We have the strength because we're girls. Our friendship is bigger than anything, anything, anything.
We are so excited to be here today. Today is Takeover Tuesday. Before I begin, we'd like to give a shout out to Sheila, Miss Sheila Berry, who is not here due to circumstances. We know you're watching, and we want you to know that our love is with you. And we miss you as always as being our foundation and our rock. I'm going to put it that way. And my #1 debater, but you know that. I'm going to move to my right now, Miss Neekee West. Neekee is our communications specialist. She's the creator of Pitfall, A Life, and she's an author. Thank you, Neekee, for being here, and you are looking fabulous in that
Thank
red.
you. It's springtime. Let's
Yes,
celebrate. Woo-hoo.
yes.
You ladies are looking lovely
Thank
as well.
you. We look like bookends, but that's all right. We did not plan it that way. Great minds think alike.
Oh my God.
Speaking of great minds, I wish my mind was like this lady's mind. This is Veronica Kitt to my far right. Veronica is the owner and founder of the People's Film Festival. She's a producer. She's the host of the VK Report. She's a director, editor. She's a mentor. She's an awesome mom. She's a best friend. Rumor has it she's a really cool girlfriend. She is all of the above. Welcome, Veronica.
Thank you, thank you.
Mhm.
It's
Good to see you,
be here. It's good
ladies.
to be back with us.
Yay. Let's first start with some exciting news on a fashion end, because I am all about fashion. The Louis Vuitton luxury brand has named an African American as its leading menswear designer.
Yes.
Really?
And we are very excited. Yes, 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 Mr. Virgil. I want to say his name is Abloh, but I could be wrong. Abloh. And if I am pronouncing it incorrectly, I apologize. I've heard it pronounced
Albo.
several ways, but we are so proud of you, and you are definitely worthy of that title, and we are expecting great things. Now, quite honestly, I can't afford Louis Vuitton, but I know a lot of people who can and enjoy it, and we're just happy you're there.
But that's awesome. Is that any response to what Gucci is doing with Dapper Dan?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
I have-
Because
yeah.
that they're doing this whole campaign. They got these big ads on 125th Street in Harlem.
Make $300
Yeah.
T-shirts and $600 hoodies.
Yeah, he's known for streetwear.
Covetable. And his recent Nike collaboration is so popular.
See,
that he
streetwear.
constructed she ordered one to demand up to $2,000 on the aftermarket. Arguably 2017's most influential figure in fashion. Here's what you need to know about Virgil Abloh's rise to the top of the industry. Born in Rockford, Illinois, Abloh graduated from the University of Wisconsin-Madison with an undergraduate degree in civil engineering. He then got his Master's of Architecture at the Illinois Institute of Technology. Abloh first came in contact with longtime colleague Kanye West by uncovering where the rapper screen printed his early concert merchandise. He then persuaded the owner of the business to introduce him to West's then manager. Things moved quickly, and in 2002, at the age of 22, Abloh left a role at a firm in Chicago and was appointed as a creative consultant for Kanye West and his agency Donda. In 2006, he became a regular contributor to The Brilliance, an influential website by Ben Gott and Chuck Anderson, where he debuted his first t-shirt design. Medallions on Blue was printed on a Champion t-shirt and sold at Parisian retailer Colette. It sold out in just a week. Virgil Abloh interned together with Kanye West at Fendi's Rome headquarters in 2009, the same year that Abloh co-founded Chicago boutique RSVP Gallery with West's former tour manager, Don Crawley. Working with Riccardo Tisci, Abloh was the art director for 2011's collaborative Jay-Z and Kanye West album, Watch the Throne, where he was nominated for a Grammy Award for Best Recording Package. In 2012, Abloh launched his first label, Pyrex Vision. The line included high-priced screen-printed Champion tees, sweatshirts, and gym shorts, and included a series of dead-stock Rugby Ralph Lauren flannel shirts bought on clearance when the Rugby brand was shuttering. He screen-printed the term Pyrex 23 on the back and sold them for $550 a piece. Abloh looked at Pyrex as more of an experimental art project and resolved to start a more serious fashion collection in the future. Early 2013 saw the rise of Bin Trill, self-described as an art collective and DJ crew whose image and sound is defined by the frenzy of new youth culture found on the pages of the deep web and on the blocks of big cities. Abloh's role with Bin Trill spawned his DJ alias, Flat White, which continues to appear on all promotional DJ materials. Abloh also launched Off-White in 2013, and the world noticed. In 2015, he was the only American to become a finalist for the prestigious LVMH Prize for Young Fashion Designers. In December 2014, Marcello Berlon and Partners founded New Guards Group, which handles production, distribution, and creative services for Off-White, as well as other brands like Palm Angels and Heron Preston. In 2016 alone, Virgil Abloh collaborated on collections with Moncler, Levi's, and the artist Brendan Fowler. He got the internet talking when he...
That's just some of what he's done.
He's been busy.
He has been busy, but this is going to lead into some other things this hour on discussion. But I want you to keep in mind, street fashion, everyday good old common sense, leading to be a multimillionaire.
Wow.
Following your passion.
And he's young.
Following your passion, knowing what your passion is. Neekee, that is one of your number one things you talk
Yes,
about,
that's
being true to
pipful
yourself.
Living.
Yeah.
That's an aspect of pipful living. And what speaks to me about this is that an aspect of pipful living that I speak about in the book is life is a marathon and not a sprint. And from his humble beginnings to where he is now to, you know, the lead designer for a high-end fashion brand coming from street design. This hasn't been done before. His background is streetwear, and now they're bringing him at the forefront to lead the brand. So I hope this speaks to everybody to, you know, your skills are transferable. If something is not working out or you feel like you're not functioning within
Or
your
growing.
passion or growing, you can see how your skills can be transferable, and that's part of Pipful Living as well. Life is a marathon, it's not a sprint, and looking at your passion and looking at what comes natural to you and making it transferable and making it work for you and turning your passion into profit.
I love it.
I think it's something to be said for the fact that I'm going to briefly use myself as an example, that acting was my first love. But being 6 feet tall without shoes, I had several people tell me it's never going to happen, never going to happen. I even went so far as to having an incredible screen test in Los Angeles, seeing myself on a major screen. And the director said, "Did you see what everyone else saw?" And I was like, "Yeah, I looked good." He goes, "No, you were too tall."
Wow.
The background crew, I have to find 80 men who are 6'6" to make you look feminine, because with heels you're 6'3", 6'4". And I decided, well, what could I do with that energy and that acting? And I took that to the runway. And I thought, well, the height is something that's positive. I just say that to say that when you have a young person and they have a passion, if one area doesn't work, figure out what else can be done to use that and use that same talent, because we can transfer, I love that word you use, transfer, to so many things. And I think that's really important and something I want to make sure we touch on.
And you're a great actress.
This
She is
summer.
So
Well, I act a
funny.
fool every
Yes,
day.
she is so
I've been waiting
oh
for
my
somebody to pay me for it. Okay. So let's go on. There's another note, but on a more solemn, I think, note. We have someone very famous who passed away.
Right. So today is, her name is Linda Brown. Yes. Her father, Oliver Brown, many years ago sued the United States,
Board of Ed.
the Board of Ed, for
Educational rights.
right, for education. His daughter, this is in Topeka, Kansas, is where she lived. The school that she wanted to go at a young age, 7 years old, was 2 blocks away, at all-white school, and she was denied the right to go to the school. The school that she was supposed to go to, which was segregated, was 2 miles away. And it was just something for a young girl, 7 years old, to be walking 2 miles to get to school when she has a school right down the block. So her father sued. That is a well-known case that we know today, Brown v. Board of Education. Sued and actually won. Today she passed at age 75 years old.
75.
Yes. So that's something that's really, really historic and memorable, touches our lives on so many different levels, mainly because prior to that, there was a law that was in place, separate but equal, which allowed segregation to flourish. That law was based on Plessy v. Ferguson, which said that as long as there's comparable institutions or programs or organizations, whatever, public spaces, then they could have separate entities, which, like the bus system. So Plessy, he was on the bus, he was like a 7/8 of half white, black, and they told him to go to the back, and he says, "No, I'm not going to the back." And so, of course, he got kicked off, they sued, and they won. The federal government basically, the Supreme Court basically said, the states have the right to do this, as long as it's, there's comparable entities in public spaces, then they can have separate institutions or separation. And that didn't even include the schools. So here it is almost 100 years, well, not even 100, maybe 75, 80 years later, this groundbreaking rule, Brown v. Board of Education, which basically overturned that and many other laws that we had. But, of course, it didn't stop things. But, yeah, so her name was Linda Brown.
Passed.
Yes.
And thanks
so
to her
relevant these
family,
days.
and it's very relevant. All it takes is one person
stand
and
up.
to enact change. And sometimes we feel like, we look around us and so much is going on that we feel like, how can we make a dent? Like, how can we even, impact some things? And, this right here shows us that, yes, one person can have an impact then, and one person can have an impact now.
We can feel so overwhelmed when there's so much coming at us and say, you know what, my vote doesn't count. You know, my voice doesn't count. My thoughts, which is why I think there is just such an abundance right now of low self-esteem. And I don't think what's going on in politics is helping at all. I start to try to figure out who doesn't feel put upon right now between transgender, shouldn't be in the military, Black lives is ridiculous, dreamers, let's kick them out. You know, all Mexicans are rapists and drug dealers. I can be heard saying certain things and have people who are proven being abusive to women working for me, and there's nothing you can do about it. There's just, if you start to think neo-Nazis have the right to protest too, they're good people. I mean, just if you try to sit back and think of any one group that hasn't been touched
Under fire.
in the last 2 years that's
Come
just
under
feeling like,
fire,
wait a
yes.
minute, you know.
So much for our Constitution
climate.
that gives us the right, you know, that's your First Amendment right. You have the right to speak, freedom of speech, to do that, even with the young people walking out. Second Amendment rights, here it is. You know, we have the right to bear arms. And
Aren't you proud of those people in Florida, the young kids in Florida?
March for Our Lives.
I am.
It's across the country.
It
They
is.
had a big march in Central Park, and
Yes.
it's like, it's milestone dates. Here we have the, oh my gosh, her name.
Oh,
Board
Linda
vers-
Brown, yes.
Board versus,
Linda Brown, Brown v. Board of Education.
right, you know, her passing, and then the March for Our Lives being done on the day of the Selma March.
Wow.
You know, so it's just like, you know, the significance to it. And again, the youth. The youth just rising up and saying, you know, enough. And there was Martin Luther King's granddaughter, Yolanda King, who was 9 years old, and she got up and, you know, she said her speech, and, you know, it was very innocent. I have a dream, and I have a dream that enough is enough, and that she wants to live in a world that's gun-free. And even that statement came under fire, and they were saying, where were her parents? Because, you know, it's unfathomable to live in a gun-free world because the guns protect us. The military needs the guns, the police officer needs the guns. But they're missing the innocence in the statement and, you know, taking it, you know, out of context. But it's a 9-year-old and she's innocent, and that's how children view and want to see the world, knowing that they're safe and that it's gun-free, you know, whether that's feasible or not. But it's how she wants to view the world. And that's what we're losing sight of today. There's no empathy, there's no apathy, and there's no putting ourselves in the other's shoes. Everyone wants to be heard, but no one wants to listen and, you know, view things from another point of view, and that's where we're losing as humans.
The interesting thing is that today we have these marches, but you know, our children in some of our communities have been victims of gun violence for years. And, you know, it's unfortunate there wasn't mass protests and marches then. But I'm glad that something is happening now. When we look at the young people that are being shot down in the school systems today, these are young white males who are shooting up their fellow classmates. Columbine, Sandy, and this one here. Yeah, enough is enough. But let's broaden that and let's really look at all of the different children who are victims. And I appreciate this young girl, you know, her getting up to speak out. When we look at, like we just mentioned about the Brown v. Board of Education, Ruby Bridges, she was the little girl that everybody's familiar with when you say Brown v. She was the one that was going into the school being taunted, harassed, and get out of here, nigga, you know. And it's unfortunate, but they are the ones, SNCC, the student organization that was fighting the atrocities that we were experiencing in 1964, the Civil Rights March. The young people got up and spoke out. They have the right and they have the vision. I think I saw something on television. It's like, well, who is he? It was a senator. He was saying he can't talk about it. He's too young. Well, where is it going to come from? if these young people don't change it, that is going to be the inevitable for their future.
That they're not, and I love that they're doing this. That wasn't the question. Well, I have to take money from, that wasn't the question.
Yeah.
And they're not listening to the mirrors.
Yes.
And the smoke and the, don't look over here, but look over here. They are not. They're like, we've asked you one more time, are you taking any money from the NRA? That's all, and they are. And I love the fact they're saying, please remember, we will be voting.
Yes.
We will be voting, because it takes young people.
That's right.
And above all, peaceful protest.
Yes, yes.
And now
yes.
there are tools that our parents didn't have, social media. They did all of this through social media. You can reach out and gain support,
Yes.
not only physically, emotionally, spiritually, but financially. If you need it. Social media is such an awesome tool to be used in the right hands.
You saw what social media did to the young girl, Gonzalez, I can't think of her name right now, and they said that she tore up the Constitution, and they basically superimposed a Constitution with her, the other people that was a part of her protest group, and tore, and then said, oh, the nerve of her, why would she do that? So they're trying to taint this march and their meaning, but why would you do that to young people? Why would you, just kind of poison that?
We know why, Veronica. Anything positive, there are going to be naysayers and negative and people who want more guns. The thought of saying, let's put a gun in a teacher's hand. Let's put a gun. They don't have enough. Teachers don't have enough to do. I know the teacher who's already shot.
Who barricaded himself and was shooting at the door. So right after they were saying that they were going to put the guns in the hands of teachers, here comes the teacher going off the hinges. So
well, they've already had several. There was one who was showing how, don't worry, I'll protect you, and there's no bullet in here, but look, that's what I'll do. And the bullet ricocheted and hit a student in the neck. Then one that barricaded itself and was shooting outside. But I mean, there was even a teacher who was an ex-police officer, ex-military person who said, I think I'm the kind of teacher you guys are talking about that should have a gun, but let me start by saying you have lost your mind if you think I'm going with a pistol and shoot at a man in a hallway that kids are running and he has a machine gun. I'm doing this, pop, 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 and he's doing this. You have lost your mind if you think I'll do that. Secondly, where am I keeping this gun? It's not wise for me to keep it on myself, on my body. What if some bad kids, whatever, I drop it, whatever. So now it's in a locked box. Again, it's in a locked box. You're going to have guns all over the school in certain places when we know they're kids just being kids. They're not fully baked. They haven't thought things through. This is just, and I think one of the most ludicrous things I've heard is, let's raise the age. Because I think that's one of those things, I'm gonna say something over here that don't make no sense, but y'all agree, right? Let's raise the age of purchasing a gun to 21, but yet you can be in the military at 18. Right. What kind of sense? So I'm in the military a year, I get sent home for whatever. I've been carrying a gun for a year, but now I can't have a gun. Do I give my gun back? It's ridiculous.
But who's carrying guns? Because young people here in our communities, they're not carrying guns.
I know.
If they carry a gun, they're going to get arrested or shot.
When I speak in schools, and I speak in a lot of schools for Partnership for Kids, when I speak in schools, especially this time of the year for graduation, every time I go to a school in the Bronx or Harlem where there's a metal detector, the kids are so happy and fun-free, and I feel so at ease. It's when I go to that middle-class suburban school where I see there are kids who've been bullied. I see kids sitting alone. My brain goes to a place where, okay, Father, just get me out of this place safely. So,
and they should have metal detectors in those schools as well.
I think, personally, I think they should have them everywhere.
Right, but I definitely don't believe teachers should have guns.
No, I don't either.
I mean, the kids are attacking them and everything.
There's enough for teachers to do.
Shoot one of them kids.
They're already in classrooms that are oversized and understaffed. They're underpaid. Now we're going to make them take a class, because they'd have to take a class to be trained. How about having a mental exam? It's our own homegrown mentally challenged people that I think, how about, you have to have a mental exam to be a police officer or to go in the military.
Yeah, you sure do.
Yeah.
The funny thing is that they said that the young man that shot up to 17 kids, he was going through some emotional distress. But the funny thing is that the parents that were raising him said that they knew he was going through some things, but it was still okay that he had his gun.
But
I don't
everybody
understand.
says that. No, but everybody
Take his guns.
says
Like
that.
what, you know, if
No,
he's,
forgive me for what I'm about to say. I think they were afraid of him too.
maybe. Yeah, they weren't his parents. They were, he went, lost a lot.
Let's go on a more positive note.
But I
if
wanted
that's
to
okay.
backtrack a little bit in speaking on, the gun violence in the schools and, just within our communities as well. And there's a young lady, I was trying to show you guys the clip that's been circulating on social media. Her name is, I think, Tiffany Lofton. And she's one of the organizers, I think, for an aspect of the March for Our Lives. And what she did during an interview is integrate the gang violence, the cop shooting of young black males, and integrating that with the conversation, the march. And she was just like, we're not going to address one thing without addressing the other. And she had some very strong key issues that she brought across that, we're not going to address one without the other, because gun violence is gun violence. And our youths are being cut down and lives are being lost for gun violence, whether it be in schools, whether it be in gangs, whether it be just on the streets within the community. So she's saying that we have to address it all. So it's being talked about, and it's being integrated and merged together to a larger conversation at hand.
Well, I haven't really, I'm glad she's doing that, because I haven't really heard too much of the stories that are happening to our young people. The funny thing is that, we're doing a film festival this year, and a couple of films came across about gun violence, which is
Before you go on that,
interesting.
we are talking about the film festival.
Our country.
We have
Yeah,
to talk
we'll get
about,
to it later. We'll get back to
Let's
it.
do it right now, because there are films talking about it. We are talking about the People's Film Festival. If you do not know it, please take a moment out and find out about it. You don't want to be the only person in your area that doesn't know, because it's a good time, it's an educational time, it's a worthy time, it's good for everyone, and we'll get more into how you can find out the dates and locations. But tell us about some of the films.
Yeah, so the film festival is this year, May 31st to June 3rd. And we are going to be at the Maysel Cinema, Magic Johnson Theater, and also the Martin Luther King Pavilion, which is beautiful at Harlem Hospital. Beautiful, amazing. It's huge. And so we got quite a few films. And as I was saying, like a lot of times we will look at several different films that are coming and kind of like group them. And what I'm seeing is a lot dealing with Me Too issues, but also the gun violence and losing our children to this violence here. And something has to give, because when we look at it, our children, I don't know where they're getting the guns from. They don't, how do they have access to get these guns into their homes, into the, it just kind of like boggles me. I mean, I have an idea, but yeah, so the film festival is showing some of these films, but it's going to be really amazing. And then also we have the Tech People Expo. We explored it last year at the Julia de Burgos Center there, Cultural Center, and now this year, second year, is going to be at the ML Martin Luther King. And just to talk about technology, talk about the next level of storytelling. Very often, we don't have these in our schools, technology. As a matter of fact, they're taking a lot of things with regards to art and entertainment out of our schools, music and everything. But the next level of storytelling is like virtual reality, augmented reality, 360 videos, just different ways to tell your story. And so a lot of times our children don't have access to this. So what we did, unless you're in a STEM program, the science program, the science and technology program. So what we did was get together a lot of different people in the industry, leaders in the industry, that do this technology, bringing them here, and to allow everyone to come in for free.
In one place.
Yeah, in one place. So they walk in and then they can explore, they can see different stories. We'll have a VR lounge where they can watch several films. I'm not sure how many films we have this year, but I know we have quite a few VR films as well from filmmakers. And it's going to be really,
Are we
really
still
powerful.
doing the things that are shot with telephones, documentaries, films? Will there be a question and answer period?
Yes, so there's a
in
QA.
it? Okay.
Yeah, Q&A after each of the filmmakers. And one of the things that we're interested in is how did you shoot your film? Because here we are, public media, public access. We shoot our film, however, whichever way we can to get that story done. And like you said, social media has changed, so has technology. It has leveled the playing field, so anyone can come in and tell their stories. And because we're the people, because I love stories too, we want to hear and see from you. And so there's no limitation there. The criteria that they have for a lot of the other film festivals, we changed that. We kind of like took away certain things, like it doesn't have to be the first run. We care, but we don't care. We would love to have the first run film, but if it's the second run, everybody has a favorite film, so we would love to see it, because a lot of times you become disappointed if you're not accepted. It's like, wow, what's wrong with my film? There's nothing wrong with your film. You just didn't make that round, or the criteria, the policy, or whatever, push you out. So here's a second chance. But my thing is, you have the Tribecas, you have Cannes, you have Sundances and stuff. Yes, do all of that, because you want your story to be told. And when it's done, come back and bring it to the people so that the people can see and have access to. But we got some amazing stories this year. It's going to be really powerful. Great panels. We love Lu there. And then, of course, Neekee there being the hostess. She's going to do the Spotlight series. And so we're really excited. And Mia, and they're going to do the whole tech panels, and so it's going to be really awesome this year. I hope everybody signs up, join, and come out, and just
And how are they signing up and joining and coming on board?
Right, so they can go online to the People's Film Festival, www.thepeoplesfilmfestival.
Don't say that like that. www.
No, some people say when you say www, that's like saying you're old, because you're saying the World Wide World. Just say thepeoplesfilmfestival.com. That's what I was told, but don't worry.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I know.
My son has told me that too.
It's like, why are you saying www? But anyways,
Okay.
thepeoplesfilmfestival.com, and the
Okay.
information will be there so that you can see the lineup that we have, sign up for some of the workshops that we're going to have, the classes. I mean, we have one workshop where you bring your laptop and you're going to learn how to do some 3D technology, and so it's going to be really, really hands-on learning. And we want everyone to come out. We hope everyone will be out.
And if they go on Instagram, they can do the hashtag, the People's Film Festival, and they can see the previous years leading up to
Yes.
this year, if you want to see what the festival is about.
Yes.
Go on
yes.
IG and hashtag the People's Film Festival.
Yes.
And it's an awesome opportunity for you to find out something that maybe your young person around you enjoys, and specifically get a film just for that. We're not saying you have to come every day, but there were some incredible ones on music last time. There are just some great films.
Yes.
Some that were just more female orientated, would be great for mother and daughters. There were some that were totally dad and son moments that you could say, hey, how'd you feel about that? What you just saw.
Yeah.
So what'd you think about that? Did
Oh,
you know
yeah.
that's where that came from? So
Yes.
it can be a way to open up a door for a conversation. So go on and look at some of the films and say, you know what? Let me gear out this day. We're going to go have lunch. We're going to watch this film. We're going to even jot down some questions right now that my son may want to ask
Because they
someone.
may want to be,
That's right.
the next filmmaker. And since this is the end of Women's History Month. Yeah, one of the things that we do have a lot of films that come across our table, or desk, if you will, from women. And the interesting thing is that statistics show that there are not a lot of women directors in the top level making the big bucks, if you will. But where do you find them? You find them in independent independent film festivals. I think 2 years ago, so Wonder Woman, Ava DuVernay. If we look at the statistics for black directors, I should say, there is 7%, which translates into 6 of the 6 black directors. One of them is a woman, and of course we know that would be Ava. And those are the ones that are making the big dollars with the success, of course, like we just had with the Black Panther. So last year we had about 22 women directors. I'm not sure how many we'll have this year, but this is where you find it. This is where you get that, and hopefully as this transitioning begins to happen, and as the technology has changed this playing field and has leveled it, maybe this introduction with these great films like the I keep saying Wakanda because I want to go to Wakanda. But as this
We'd be in charge of the military.
Yeah, right.
Yes,
that's
we
right.
would.
That's right. But hopefully things will begin to change. But we want to have more women directors, and our Spotlight series is focused on women directors, which Neekee West will be hosting this year, so that we can hear those stories from women about women, and created by them.
Yeah, I love that Lu said that it creates a conversation, because the Spotlight series, it does just that. Like, after you view the films, there's the directors who come up and there's a panel and the audience is there, and we just delve into the film, and it's so organic, and we pick it apart, and it's just everybody's giving insight and input and making correlations to real life situations, to the films. And it's a great conversation to be had. It's like a family at a round table, minus the food, but the conversation
food, but it's
is the
food for your soul. That's
yes,
right.
Food for thought, food for your soul, and the energy is just so infectious. And I love hosting it, and I'm so happy that you're having me back to do it,
Please,
because
she is like,
I think
this is the
it's a
master
great
team
thing.
right here, because Neekee was handling it down, and Lu was holding it. I mean, master team.
Okay.
I love everything.
For those of you who watch this show, you know that for us to be working with Nat, we got some special human powers here. Okay, now I'm not
Wonder
saying there's an
Woman.
S underneath all of these shirts, but it's close to it. Nat, we love you.
Yeah.
On that note, summertime is coming up. There are loads of graduations. We would like to say congratulations to all those graduating high school and going into college. We here are very proud of you, whether it be a college or a
Kindergarten,
kindergarten,
middle school.
or a hair, learning to do hair, or makeup beauty class, or whatever your passion is for you to say, this is what I want to do. I'm even proud of those of you who want to take a little time off and say, let me figure it out before I get a $30,000 a year debt under my belt.
Right.
But we want to encourage you that if you are taking time off, really delve. Staying at home and being on the phone or social media is not what it's about. On that note, there are a lot of free things and interesting things you can be doing in New York that are free. Friday evenings at the MoMA are opening. You can have a tour of the Federal Bank in the Gold Vault. Yes.
Wow,
Let's
wow.
think about that.
Yeah.
Now that might make me jealous. Let me leave that one alone. Let me leave that alone. You can go to the Botanical Gardens. You can see Alexander Hamilton's Harlem estate. That's a free tour. The New York Earth Room. There is a place for stargazing on the High Line, which I love the High Line.
the High Line is
You can do
amazing.
yoga for free at Bryant Park.
Wow.
Go there. It's just, there's so many opportunities to meet people, to just take one little thing that you love and maybe need, whether it be for learning another language, learning to dance. There are more free dance lessons in New York where you can pair up with people. There is no need to be alone or discouraged. And we were talking before the show started. It's very important to keep growing. It really is important to keep growing.
It is.
Anything on that note, ladies?
Oh no, I encourage everyone to just be active and get out there and most importantly get involved, like to see how these young people are standing up, get involved. Back in the days, remember when they had the protests with the Freedom Riders? Those were young people that were going to fight, sitting at the luncheon counters and things like that. See, my passion is speaking, activism, fighting, going out there and voicing, letting your voice be heard. And so that to me is exciting. Remember we had that conversation? That to me is exciting, getting involved in that way. But whatever it is that you want, don't just sit back, just get out there. And if it's skating on, you know, roller skating or whatever, get out there. And just don't sit back, because a lot of times what will happen is that life will just pass you by and it's like, oh, what if I did or I could have. Sometimes we explain things away in our own mind and end up doing nothing, you know, as opposed to just getting out to do. I like what you do. Lu is just all over the world.
I'll do it.
You know, she'll go.
I'll go.
Yeah.
What the heck?
That's right.
Yeah, I don't think it's the things that we do
Don't be
and
limited.
don't work out that we regret. I really believe it's the things we never try.
Yes.
That we sit back one day
Operative
and say,
word.
wonder what would have happened. And what a better example or role model can you be for a younger person? Young people don't want to hear you say, well, I would have, or you should have. You should lead by example and say, well, baby, this is what I did, and I can do this. And if that's it, let's sit down and put some thoughts together.
Thank you.
Let's
Thank you.
put some
Yes.
verbs.
You know what we have to be careful about too? Transferring our own experiences. Because I was watching this PBS documentary on black ballerinas. And there were the ballerinas who never became prima ballerinas. They never made like first company. And here they were mentoring, and you know, these young ladies were going to, you know, these black ballet schools, and they were transferring their experiences that when those young ladies went into their own auditions, they already went in feeling inferior. They already went in feeling defeated. So as mentors and as older, you know, the older mentors who've been through different things in their generation, we have to be able to prepare the youth, but not prepare them to the extent where they transfer their hurt
That
and
is
their
very
pain
important.
and their experiences
Very important.
into their experience. And another thing I want to say, you know, part of your pipful life, you know, we said previously that pipful living is living in your passion, being purpose driven, being intentional in every aspect of, you know, your life, with your words, with your deeds, with your thoughts, and paying it forward. And part of your pipful life and your pipful self is being selfless. And part of marching and activism and what you do with the runway coaching and the mentoring of the young ladies, and you know what I do with my communication and what's turning into life coaching, you know, it's taking on a whole thing on its own, pipful living. And it's okay to be selfless, but part of being selfless is also being selfless towards yourself. Knowing when you're overwhelmed, because I was out there with the activism as well, like every day, 7 days a week, every day. And at some point I had to step back and say, wow, this is weighing so heavy on me that I need to take a step back and be selfless and take care of myself, love on myself, regroup, and then come back so I can be of service, and you know, I can give that energy, positive energy, not negative energy, positive energy into the situation. So, you know, part of living your pipful life is being selfless, not only towards others, but knowing when you need to be selfless towards yourself as well.
I love that. I very often have conversations with older, and I mean much older than this panel, but I'm often warning them to not lay that same, the mentality. Yes, there is still racism, absolutely, but not everything is racist. Some things are just because people are doggone dumb and stupid. No, there are just some things like that. You could have been any color and they were going to treat you that way. So that isn't always the first place I go to.
That's a good.
And often people who have gone through much harder than what we're going through, that is the first place they go.
Yeah.
And that's where it stops. You can't even convince them there was anything else. was financial why they didn't want you to come in. They
Right,
were
right.
snobs. No, it's
Right.
because I was black.
Yeah.
It's because of the way you were dressed.
Exactly.
Your pants hanging down past your knee. No, it was because I was black. Everything. So let's be careful that
And
we're
even
not
when,
transferring.
even when we're educating our children, you want to educate your children about the sordid history. You want to equip them. But it's a fine line between educating and equipping them for the world that they're going to go into, and giving them so much information that before they even have the experience, they're looking for the experience. Their eyes are
That you
open to
had.
say,
Yeah.
to say, oh, am I gonna, are they gonna be prejudiced towards me? Am I gonna be discriminated against? Am I gonna be, experience racism? So there's a fine line where we educate, but we have to be careful with the information and the experiences that we transfer, that we don't smear or put them in a box to their own experiences, that they actually go out searching for those experiences instead of entering the world positively and looking for positive things and looking for positive experiences and looking for positive relationships, and not closing themselves off because they feel like that's what the experience is going to be for everyone.
And see, the funny thing is that I like to, and even my kids and everyone, I like to approach things as is, open mind. I don't know you. If it's someone that I'm meeting for the first time, I don't know you. You haven't done anything to me. I will deal with people accordingly. You never have some friends where they're saying, "Oh, girl, don't talk to her."
Yes, like we're in third grade.
Give me a chance to get to, because I will, and I'm not going to allow you to influence me.
And chances are, it's a way different experience and interaction.
Right. So I deal with people accordingly, and that's it. And if I experience racism, I know how to deal with it, but I prepare my people, my young people, about it if this happens. But go in with an open mind and enjoy and embrace, because the world is amazing and people are amazing once you step out into that. If you go in there with preconceived notions, and this is what's happening now with this whole administration, with the whole Trump, you have a lot of stereotypes and stuff that is affecting and influencing policies, which is so screwed up. But open your mind to everyone, and I think it'll be amazing how people will embrace one another. I mean, this is
a lot of people are just missing out because they're locked in and they're closed-minded, and they're it's okay to protect yourself, but you protect yourself to an extent where you miss out on so many great people and great experiences because you feel like this is what you're going to experience when you step out into the world, when you step out into different communities.
And then also, just speaking about that on that note, Cynthia Nixon, Sex and the City. Now, I loved her character. And so the interesting thing is she's being attacked from all ends because they're saying that she lacks experience, and even Christine Quinn called her inexperienced lesbian. Ooh, how dare you? Like, you just hit her below the belt. Aldamato hitting her below the belt. But when I look at leadership and I look at people who stand up, you're not born to be a leader. You're not born to know these rules and regulations and policies, and you're not born into this. Sometimes activism takes shape and form based on what you've experienced and what happens. Sometimes leaders sort of like emerge. When things aren't going the way you want, then you have the right to change policy. Be the one to step out. I think of Stokely Carmichael or Kwame Ture, as we all know and love. If there's not an organization for yourself, then create one. If someone is not doing something that you want, then create one. So Cynthia Nixon says, you know what? Because she's big on education. My sons went to school down there in her area, and I've seen her. Okay, step up. Well, you know what? I think I can do it. I look at some of the people who became politicians or just became activists, even Obama. Right? See Virginia Fields, she was a social worker. Like a lot of people were something and then said, I want to go in and I thought about it. I thought about running for.
You'd be awesome.
I thought about it.
We say so much to be the change that we want to see. Yeah. And that is exactly what she's doing. And, as she steps out into the limelight, then we'll see what she's really made of. But you have to give people opportunities. When you go back to Abraham Lincoln was a self-taught lawyer who became one of the greatest presidents, of this country has ever
Well, that's
seen.
what they said,
When
but
you see, that's what they say. That's what they're saying.
Don't give Veronica credit on Abraham Lincoln.
Ronald Reagan was an actor.
He was an
Ronald
actor.
Reagan was an actor.
Who else? Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Schwarzenegger. We won't speak on the jobs that they did, but these were people that felt like, something spoke to them, and they felt like they could go in there and enact change. And my thing is, it's about the people.
Do you think they scared
It
of her?
starts with the people. I don't know what they're thinking, so I can't speak on that.
On
Oh
that
my
note,
God.
if not Hillary Clinton, who would you like to see be running for our first female president? Who else would you like to see in the forerunning? Who's there right now that you would mind saying?
I don't.
I'm looking at Senator Harris.
That is one. Yeah,
I'm loving.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm loving her strength.
You think
I'm
she
loving,
would want to?
whether she wanted to or
Yeah,
not, that isn't. But I wouldn't mind her tossing
it's
her hat in the ring. Is there anyone else?
That I know of. Well, you know what? Cynthia Nixon. No, I'm just saying. Okay. No, I don't know. I don't know what her
young ladies
politics
are
will
saying
be.
Condoleezza Rice,
Yeah.
even though she's taken a step back.
But she
and not,
is brilliant.
Yeah,
and
but they're
that's the
saying
thing.
she would be.
Yeah, she is, and she
That's who exactly I was thinking about in my head,
She's brilliant.
Condoleezza.
I've seen a story on her. Like even though she was Republican, she was over there with Bush, but they really need to know her story. She's like really brilliant. But you know what, politics, I love Charles Barron because he called them Republicrats. It's the same thing, Republicans and Democrats. It's all mixed up. It's no difference. And so politics to me, it's, I don't know. We're looking at a constitution. Are you going to really change that constitution? Are you really going to change policies that's going to affect? It begins on a lower level where we can really have an impact, but if it goes further, like say for instance, if you get lawsuit and it goes to the state and it goes to the Supreme Court, you're probably going to get kicked down because those policies are intact.
What I want to see is term limits across the board.
Love term limits, yes.
Because my thing is, if the mayor, if the presidency have term limits, why can a senator make a career, a lifelong career?
Even a judge.
Judges, lifelong careers. This is where corruption sets in. This is when they think they're larger than life. And I think that's one thing that should be enacted, where there is, term limits across the board. You don't just get to, you don't just get to go and sit in a seat for
But do you get the right to jump from this seat? I'm at city council, now I'm going to go to assembly, and now I'm going to keep going. And they just keep,
What's it called? I'm having an old lady moment. Hillary won the popular vote, but Mr. Trump won the
electoral vote.
That's the next thing, I think.
Get rid of it.
The electoral college. What is up? Right.
What's the purpose?
Right.
Because the people spoke.
Exactly.
Right.
She had the popular
Well,
vote. So, and this is who they want. They didn't want him.
I think it was
2
put in
million?
place, forgive me if I'm incorrect, when there were those who thought when women and minorities got the right to vote, that we wouldn't really know what to do with that vote. So we need to have those who are smarter than the average Joe.
Obama showed us what to do with a vote that where they thought people didn't know what to do with it. The 18-year-olds, he met them in social media, and then all of a sudden, they're voting for Obama. Boom, landslide. Because he tapped into a voting pool of people that were forgotten. A lot of times they develop, they develop this apathy. They says, oh, well, I got this in a bag, we got the black vote or whatever, and you forget about them. They never even thought about these young people.
And I think they're going to make a big difference.
Yeah, I never forget when Nat he came in with a video, and the Obama girl, and she had on her little shorts, and I love my Obama. I said, well, Nat, what are you doing? I didn't even know what it was. He was already ahead of us because he knew what was happening as far as that change was concerned, because that was what was going on in that group. We missed it, and so did everyone else, and then here we have the first black president.
See, now we don't mind confessing that Nat is smarter than us.
Oh, he's brilliant. I love Nat.
Say it, say it, say it, say it.
He's brilliant.
That's right.
Yes, is. He's in the control room right now,
he has
laughing at us,
amazing sayings.
laughing with us.
No, this is, I'm going to tell you, last week, 2 weeks, it's just been haunting me. We have this new intern, his name is Raina, he's an amazing photographer. So Nat comes in there one day, he says, yeah, he says, I'm going to take you from knowing how to shoot to knowing what you're doing. And I just laugh, knowing it, because he's like, he's going to teach you.
Okay, now I get to now tell my Nat story. When I started coming here, for those of you who don't know, at Manhattan Neighborhood Network, the people who put on the shows are graduates, and the only ones who can help you are other graduates. So I was in the control room, and no one had ever taught me really how to use phones. And the phone started ringing, and I was disconnecting live phone calls and hanging up on people. And Nat that was my internship. And Nat turned around and said, "Get it together, Sierra." And I'm not gonna lie, I peed on myself just a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, I did just a little bit, because he scared the bejesus out of me. But I had no choice but to
She's
get
being
it.
nice about it.
Yeah.
Nat said, she was like, Veronica, the papers say this, to do it this way, but Nat said do it that way. What do I do? I said, you better listen to Nat.
You better listen to Nat. You better listen. And I am eternally grateful that I did listen to Nat, because genius. Do you want to give a story about Nat?
I don't have a Nat story,
Okay.
but I'm going to say this. I met Nat through you ladies. And it goes to show, it's a testament to you guys and the job that you do, because once you brought me to Nat was just like, well, if they say you're okay, then you're okay. So it goes to show that the full trust that he had in you ladies, that when you brought me, he embraced me because you ladies embraced me. So that's my Nat story.
Yes,
Thank you. Thank you.
We love you, Nat.
We love you, Nat.
He's okay.
We only have a little bit of time left. Is there anything else? I know we won't be back
I want to
again
give
till
one
June.
quick shout out
Yes, go.
to this is the African American women in cinema. Her name is Tara Renee. She is the founder of this film festival. 20 years. She's an amazing sister, and I got to give her a shout out. Their festival kicks off tonight.
Where?
At the Cineplus Theater on 23rd Street.
Oh, in New York?
Today is her opening night.
Wow.
Red carpet event. It's from March 27th to 31st, and I encourage everyone. I brought a ticket, but I know I won't, because we're here. But I have to support her, because she's amazing.
Say that name once.
So it's the African American Women in Cinema, and it kicks off tonight until this week, the end of this week. And you gotta go. She got some amazing things, but amazing panels. And she's just you gotta meet her. She just gives you these big embraces when I see her. She just hugs you. I just love her. Congratulations, your 20th year, Tiara.
Excellent.
You just
Neekee?
made my heart smile. Like, you know, this is the selflessness and the paying it forward type of thing that I'm talking about, because you're the founder of your own festival, and you're plugging somebody else's festival, and sending them love and light and congratulations, and you just made my heart just
Yeah.
And Neekee, we're about to go off. Is there anything you would like them to know moving forward this summer you'll be doing?
Just moving forward, I'll be working with Veronica with the People's Film Festival, and I'm just perfecting, for the lack of a better word, Pipful Living, and I'll be in Rockland County unveiling it Memorial Weekend with a group of ladies. So I'm looking forward to that Pipful Living coming to life.
Excellent. I myself will be as one of the head analysts on the Miss USA beauty pageant on May 21st. So I look forward to seeing everyone there. And remember, get out, learn something, move forward, have fun, make positive memories. De-stress yourself. As someone very wise once told me, the coffin has no pockets. You can't take it with you, right?
Yes.
Enjoy it
Get
and
out of
pass
your
it
comfort
on.
zone.
Yes.
Yes. We have had a wonderful time here. Thank you very much. You have been watching 30 Frames a Second. Anything else, ladies?
No? Yeah, thank you.
Get out of your comfort zone. Get out there, live life, live your Pipful life.
Happy summertime.